April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, which brings awareness to victims of abuse and those who work to help. North Star Child Advocacy Center helps bring justice to children who have suffered some kind of abuse. According to Executive Director Greg Collins, the kinds of abuse North Star sees are physical, sexual, and severe neglect. Collins says abusers do not always have to be complete strangers.
The point is, know who your kids are spending time with, and don't let your kids spend time with people alone, even if you trust them, because we've had offenders that were super trustworthy and great people. They were offenders, and that's why they did what they did, where they worked, why they worked, to be around children.
For more information about Child Abuse Prevention Month, you can visit our website at WTAP.com.